What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 24 of Grades and Postseason Basketball Explosion of the Sports Hour Plus with Miller and Watson. I am back. I have been MIA for the last few weeks. It's been a little crazy time in my life. It's been my birthday. It's been the draft. I went on a bachelorette party to Vegas, which is why my voice kind of still sounds like this. It's just been a really nutty few couple weeks. I'm glad to be back. I am glad to be back in my own house. This will be a nice, relaxing weekend. And then the weekend after that, I have my bridal shower, and then I have a wedding, and then I have my bachelorette. It kind of, after this weekend, my summer kind of starts to snowball. So I'm taking in every second of this relaxing. I cleaned my house today. It doesn't really look like I cleaned my house from behind me, but trust me, if you can see in front of me, there's not boxes of stuff. So we're in a good place, a good mood, excited to talk draft, NBA playoffs. We'll talk a little bit about hockey next week when I get a chance to kind of go and watch some of the games. I was, of course, watching when the Caps were in it. They tragically got swept by the Rangers, which was extraordinarily I guess expected is probably the right word. There's been some crazy upsets, some goals scoring really fast. So it's been really exciting NHL playoffs. But Kyla, how are you? How have you been? I know the people have heard from you, but we've just been kind of chatting and, it's been good, right?
Yeah, it's been great. A lot of people have been tuning in on the basketball coverage on my end, as you know. I've had some while you were vacationing. I was soloing this podcast, as often happens when one of us is down, the other one picks up. It was fun though. A lot of people loved it. I don't know. We're good right now as far as basketball. Looking a little shaky, or was looking a little shaky before Tyrese Maxey went off. So we're doing pretty well as far as basketball and playoff basketball. Called the Nuggets over the Lakers. The Magic are making me look like a genius, even though they're down a game. It's been a good time. Outside of that, life is good. Things are going good. It's hot, for the next
hot.
few days. I was feeling like summer on in the East Coast / Northeast where we are. So can't complain about that. Might get a water ice.
I know. There you go. It's still so weird that y'all call it water ice.
Yeah, slushy, shaved ice, whatever y'all want to call it. Y'all can send those comments to me. Speaking of, definitely follow us.
Yes, give us a follow. Give us a follow. We love hearing from you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've been having a lot of fun. We have been, we're just excited. I think we're excited. This is a great time of the summer. It's a little bit chiller, but there's some good stuff happening. So I know a few weeks ago, we kind of started talking a little bit about college and what the trajectory for college sports is. This is a huge one. This is, and Kylan, you might have to explain it a little bit to me because I am a little bit confused still. So according to Yahoo Sports, the NCAA is working to settle the House versus the NCAA case, which pretty much just means that revenue sharing would be brought to college sports. Now, my confusion is the revenue sharing within the conferences, or is it across the NCAA as a whole? So is it every college gets paid the same amount, or is it everybody in the SEC, everybody in the Big Ten, everybody in the MAC?
I think they're still trying to figure that out, but I think the idea is they would do revenue sharing the same way they do it in the NBA, NFL, like whatever it is. Obviously, the NBA has a more ideal structure with the 50-50 split. Now we don't know percentages because obviously, as we talked about before, and I talked about last week with Dartmouth and the fact that the Ivy League was joining the appeal or writing in a Mecca's brief. Bet y'all didn't think I'd use that, even though I'm not in law school. And a Mecca's brief on behalf of the Ivy League. So those that don't know, this is just a big thing, like I said. So obviously, you guys probably remember, and Morgan probably remembers that last summer or about this time last year, a bunch of college reps were up on the hill, Morgan's favorite place, up on the hill near her hometown, talking about like NIL and begging Congress to do something. And they did do something. They sued them. So this is one of the multiple lawsuits. It's literally the House of Representatives versus the NCAA. And so, and the House has basically said that, like, and this is why you guys see NIL being different. The biggest thing that came out of that case when it went to the Supreme Court was the Supreme Court basically said the NCAA has no right to limit the amount of money that athletes make, as they have been doing. And this is why NIL has basically become the wild, wild west. Because also what they said was, it depends on they semi. I hate doing this because it's two different things, but it's basically the same thing that happened with abortion, right? Each state has the right to legislate what these athletes make. And so because we live in a capitalist society, obviously most of these states have been like, all right, they can have the same rights as their fellow college students, make as much money as they want, as long as it's not illegal, right? So that's basically what has happened. And as a result of that, now the House is, now this is just the other case that we said was coming is this case where now they're trying to figure out, instead of just going to court and losing again and having it be the wild, wild west, they're doing what most rich clients do, right? They're going to settle and try to figure out an amount of money that'll make sense. Now, the revenue sharing probably has to be, like I said, the NBA, NFL, MLB model, because otherwise, like Morgan just alluded to, you're basing it then on different states. Like the SEC is in Atlanta, the ACC is in Charlotte. Like it's basically the wild, wild west again of like, oh, we're just basing it on what state it is. So I'm assuming that that's what it is. And my reaction to this is, again, it serves the NCAA right. Like I told y'all this before a couple of weeks ago. Morgan wasn't here, or I think she was here for this, where I basically said that vitamin A amateurism is dying. It was already dead anyway, but now that they're actually like, we're in the player power movement in college football and college basketball and all these college sports. Finally, it's dying, right? So now they're basically saying amateurism is dead. Y'all want us to do something about this, then do revenue sharing. And I think I said this a few weeks ago that this is where it was heading, because these coaches and stuff don't like the fact that these kids now can make as much money as them or whatever. So if you don't want that, then share the revenue. Like, so this is what's going to happen. I'm not imagining it's going to be a 50-50 split, but I probably would think it'll be 60-40, if nothing else. But it's definitely going to be in that high double digits. And I think that it serves the NCAA right, because everyone knew that the NCAA is kind of a dictatorship. If I'm misrepresenting, we invite anybody that wants to represent the NCAA and come on here and tell them I'm lying on this podcast. At Colin Watson, at
the thing is,
Miller, like you are welcome to come in here and tell me I'm lying.
We've talked about this before, that the NCAA had power when they were limiting NIL and all that kind of stuff. Now, the problem is that now they don't have as much power, and they're like seeking out power, I guess, if that makes sense, in different ways. And one way to do that is by, I don't know. And I think that if they can get back into it, okay, revenue sharing or whatever, they, and I don't know. I don't really, what side are you on it? Do you think that this is going to change? If this passes, will this change college sports forever? I think that is the key, is that, does this change the way that college sports should be viewed, or not should be viewed, are going to be viewed, are going to be played, stuff like that?
Yeah. Look, it's basically going to be, because you still have, basically what you have is two dual rulings. So the NCAA, essentially, they already lost in the Supreme Court. So they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, right? They're trying to be like, hey, we know that we can't legislate because, like we've said, right, all these colleges are everywhere. So like they can't legislate what each state does. They have no, ability. We've always known this, to legislate these states and where these colleges are. So like I'm me, I'm pro player, pro chaos. So like I think this is great. I think that this is great.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good.
This is great.
And I think it helps. It does. It helps even it out because there are really talented people that go to school in really smaller places. And we've said this forever that as NIL grows, it's going to be harder for universities that are smaller to continue to grow when they don't have the God, what is it called? The endowment as other schools do. So a school,
Yeah,
you know,
the
a
money.
school like let's put JMU. Let's talk JMU. So JMU has been growing for years, right? Like moving up quickly, blah 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 blah. If stuff trends the same way it's trending now, JMU is never going to be able to grow and be a powerhouse ever because we don't have the same endowment as a University of Texas or a University of Illinois or Indiana. You know, these Big Ten schools or these SEC schools are just going to forever steal our coaches and our players because we don't have the means to pay them. Now, if we have a more shared system, it's going to be a lot fairer and it's going to be more about the talent and coaching styles and kids than it is about who has more money.
Yeah. What's up, RC, man? What's up? And he's got a special one for you. Welcome back, Morgan.
Thank you. I know, like I said, I've been gone for so long. I have been just
yeah, but yeah, like so for me, like I definitely think this is not going to be the end of college sports. I just think it's great because now, you know, like I said, and kind of like Morgan alluded to, a lot of these purists have been lying, saying it's for the good of the sport. I'm like, stop. These coaches are not doing anything for the good of the sport, right? And it's about time that, you know, these kids had the same rights that I had and you had to make money and, you know, be in school and do what they want to do. So I'm for it. It's going to be interesting to see what they wind up doing, especially since they can't legislate NIL anyway. So it'll be good to see if this will be on top of what they make in NIL. I assume it will be, but you know we don't know. So we will stay tuned on this case. But yeah, the college sports is going to be changing, and it's not going to be your granddad, your mom and dad's college sports anymore. And if you hear these purists saying, "What happened to the game I love?" Just tell them, oh, you were cool with exploitation of students, huh? Like you were cool with being able to wear Reggie Bush's jersey and not paying Reggie Bush anything, right? Which, by the way, congrats to Reggie Bush for the wrong that should have never happened. He got his Heisman back. Congrats to him. You know,
who is it that now can go to the ceremonies again? Is it Johnny Football? Is that who said he wasn't going to go anymore?
Yeah. Johnny Manziel can go now. Like, you know,
God forbid.
And that's the dirty secret of this. Like, they were always getting paid. I don't think you need to be a journalist to know this. I think we all do. They were all getting paid. Like I said, as Morgan alluded to, no one was going to Tuscaloosa, Alabama out of the goodness of their heart. Like, you know, no one was going. She brought up the University of Indiana. No one was going to, what is it, Bloomington, Indiana?
Yeah.
Like, no one was going to Bloomington, Indiana out of the goodness of the heart. I mean, I'll be real. I've only heard of two parts of Indiana. Gary, because of Michael Jackson, and Indianapolis, because obviously the Pacers, the Colts, the Indy 500. But, like, you know, no one was doing that out of the goodness of their heart. So yeah, we'll keep y'all posted on this. Morgan, I don't know if you got anything else to add to it.
No, I think we kind of hit it all.
Cool. What's up, RC? Yeah, let's go. Thank you, RC. I'm a very dedicated fan. The other thing we have to talk about, some of you may not have known this. Morgan and I were talking about this off air, that I haven't read the story. So just to get this. So do we have a problem with the way Deion Sanders treated the players he cut from Colorado by telling them to transfer or be cut, according to The Athletic? So for those of you that don't know, The Athletic came out with a piece yesterday talking about basically what happened last year. If you watched his Amazon Prime documentary, you probably saw a little bit of this. I haven't watched either one. But, you know, Deion Sanders came, you know, like Hurricane Deion, came to Colorado and basically told those players after their coach left or got fired to basically, I'm bringing every player that I had from Jackson State and every good, you know, player that you guys have heard of that's in the transfer portal. So y'all got to go. So either transfer or be cut. And, you know, that's what happened. And then the Athletic reporter did it, you know, talk to these players who got cut. And they said, like, Deion kind of just threw them out, and basically told them transfer, like, and cut their scholarships and did all this stuff. And, you know, if you hadn't read this article, you probably were confused, as Morgan said off air. And as I'm going to say, I was just looking at Deion making a whole ass of himself on Twitter, and Shador And I was trying to figure out like what was going on. Had no idea about the athletic piece. I was just like, yo, did my girl Kim and Dion have a meeting to figure out who's gonna be the jerk this week? Because the way he was acting, he was like, no one's ever heard of you. I'm the best. I was like, is this man trying out for WWE? I was so confused. Like, what is going on here? And then the reporter tweeted it out. More people got on the story from our field. And then we figured out that, and Dion would say, borrowing from the Kim Mulkey playbook, was saying it was a hit piece. But one of the players came out and said, yes, this is all true. This is how it happened. Then Shador and his brother and his dad kind of triple teamed him on Twitter. And then you probably saw this guy, I think his name was Xavier Jones or Xavier something, tweeted that
who is that? Was he an ex-player of at Buffalo? Okay.
So he was on Colorado before Dion.
At Buffalo. I meant of the Buffaloes. Yes, of Colorado. Yes.
Yeah, so he was on Colorado before Dion, and he was the starting middle linebacker. I think he plays for Texas or TCU now, so he transferred. Good middle linebacker. He had more, and so you might have seen that he tweeted, I had more deflections than Shiloh. So for those of you that don't know, Shiloh is kind of like the middest player on or family member of that team. He's the middle linebacker that got burned a lot by tight ends. If you watch Colorado games, it was him.
He was the guy that made like awesome plays in the first half and then like disappeared in the second half.
Yeah. So I mean, I will say, because I said this before, a lot of people were trying to figure out why I had such a problem with Dion. They thought I was hating, and then he went 4-8, and I kind of said, you can't come in here blustering and then lose like that. So, but yeah, honestly, I think these programs are reflections of the coaches, right? More a reflection of the coaches than the schools. And now we kind of see, like I always said, that Colorado was kind of a bunch of front runners. They didn't have an offensive line to back up any claim that Dion said. I mean, RC doesn't have a problem with it either. Not an angelic saint, and I get that. But I also think there's humanity here. I think there's a way to like just be like, hey, just transfer. I wouldn't be out here saying I'm going to cut you though, but I'm not Dion with a Super Bowl ring. But yeah, I have somewhat of a problem with it. And the only real problem I have with it is I don't really have a problem with you saying transfer or be cut. But I don't like the fact that he was out here making a whole ass of himself yesterday and basically proving the article right. And then being like, this article is a hit piece. It was like Kim Mulkey, right? She was saying the same thing, but she was proving the article right. So like that's my problem with it. Like I don't have a problem with you telling people to transfer. I just would like for Dion to have some semblance of being humble, right? Like you're now go ahead.
My struggle with him is that he was an amazing player and he is a good coach when it comes to certain things, but I don't want to be like, what does he have to be cocky about? Because that's not really fair. But like, these are still kids, and I don't really necessarily have an issue with the way that he treated them. It's more like let me preface this. I don't have a problem with telling them that they aren't going to be on the team, they're going to be cut. Like that stuff happens when coaches move around. It's kind of the like the other stuff that goes with it, like that kind of cockiness. Like, and then again, this also is combined with him talking, pardon my French, but shit about his players after losses and blaming a lot of the stuff on his players, where that's where it makes me feel like this was done in a not so nice way because of the way that he spoke to the media following these losses. I can only imagine what was said behind closed doors, if that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, and then Keenan Thompson, one of our childhood heroes, and hopefully fan of the show. If not, get like us, Keenan. He did a whole SNL skit about being Dion and basically made fun of the fact that Dion, like Morgan said, never took blame. I'm like, dog, who's coaching these people? Like, you want credit for the TCU victory, but the 8 losses you don't want credit for. Like, so like, and again, I like Dion. I think he's going to do great things for the sport. I think he'll put eyes on Colorado that wouldn't have been on Colorado. but I just think some stuff happens a little bit too fast. And this is just Dion is a prime. I don't know him, but Dion is definitely watched him growing up. He is very good at marketing himself. There are a few people that got that charisma to market themselves, and he's one of the few people who can market. He can sell water to a whale. That man is a salesman. Like,
yep.
Yeah. So like, I have no problem with him as a person. This is more me as a problem with him as a coach. I think he's doing a little bit too much right now. And the players he can recruit other than Shador and Travis can't really back up what he's preaching right now. So I think that I think that he would do well to give his Twitter and stuff to a journalism major, a marketing person at Colorado. Him and Shador just need to stay off of Twitter, stay off of social media. It's May. Like, training camp is coming. They don't really call it training camp in college football, but training camp is coming in 2 months. Like, go do that. Go focus on that. Go focus on if Shador is going to leave and be a top 5 pick. Go do something else. Stay off Twitter and stop confirming what articles saying that are written about you. Like, stop going to the Kim Mulkey School of Crisis Management. Like, do something else. Stay off. You want to talk about this one?
Yeah. So Amazon and the NBA have talked about getting the broadcast rights. There's been a lot of speculation about who, what, where is getting the broadcast rights. And what's so funny is that I think no one really cares where the NBA is played, what platform it's played on. Everyone's so worried about the TNT show. That's what I keep hearing everyone talk about. They're like, we have to keep the TNT show together. Like, what's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. And it's so funny because realistically, a lot of these sports, and I would say basketball probably the most of all of them. Like, basketball is basketball. Like, basketball is shot the same. It's directed the same. It's when you go to school for journalism, for broadcasting, the first sport they teach you is basketball because they have it's super easy. You have a game cam, you have a hero shot, 2 sidelines, and then a slash cam. That's like the general base. You have 5 cams. Obviously, the more you go up, you have more cameras and stuff like that. But you can do a pretty high quality basketball broadcast with just those 5 cams. And then if you want to add a 6 fan cam in there or some hoop cams, you can do that. But it's pretty generic way that it's done. And so a lot of people, I feel like, aren't really concerned as to what conglomerate, I guess it's on. All I hear people talking about is this pregame show, which is so funny to me.
Hey man, I'm of the person as the basketball head here, person that watches basketball and loves basketball. I am not weeping over that show. I think that's the RU, and I don't want to belittle these people who are worried about the TNT show, but like, I think that's the denotation right there. Like, are you a casual or are you a basketball head? Because most of us that are basketball heads are like, that show does nothing for me. It's not for me. It's more for y'all anyway. Because like, I was just talking to somebody about this actually. And he was like, why don't you like this show? And I was like, it's not that I don't like the inside the NBA. It's just that, like, I don't like the fact that it's more for the casual NBA fans. It's not for me. It's not for, and I would say that whether I, obviously talk about this a lot. I cover the Sixers, obviously, in sports media, but even like, and I'm taking that hat right off right now. I'm speaking as Kylan, the NBA fan. Like, I don't care about inside the NBA or TNT. Like, to me, that's just the Shaq and Kenny clown Charles Barkley show. That's what that is. Like, that's all that is. Like, here's what I want y'all to do. To y'all people who listen to this show and y'all like inside the NBA, like RC is saying, yeah, like he agrees with me. It's great, but it goes bye-bye. I'm never gonna cry. Just rebroadcast a different light, new show. People will follow like sheeps. LOL. Yeah. So like, look, like obviously there is a space in basketball, as Morgan just said, more than any other sport because it's one of those sports that it's a simple game, but people always misrepresent what's going on a basketball court. So like there is a space for stuff that appeals to casual basketball fans, that gives them the stats, that gives them the Shaq to the fool part of it. Like, There's a space for that. But for the basketball heads, like I'm all for Amazon getting these rights because, and what I was hearing, I don't know what Morgan was hearing. Again, we don't have sources on this all the time, but from what I was hearing from people who were reporting on it, like Amazon was basically saying, "Hey, will do," and this is why they were the first to get these rights announced by Andrew Marchand. So just for those of you that don't know, Andrew Marchand is a big sports insider. He usually gets this stuff first, and what he says is gospel. So like if you get the Andrew Marchand treatment, it's kind of like the Woj or the Adam Schefter treatment, but he's way more accurate than both of them. Like when Andrew Marchand is tweeting out something saying, is it Marchand or Marchand? I think it's Marchand. Like when he is on things saying Amazon and the NBA have a framework, they do. Like it's gospel. It's not going to change. It's gospel. So like, but what I was hearing, and I don't know if Morgan was hearing the same thing. What I was hearing was the Amazon sold the NBA on. We're going to build it all around you. We'll do what we do for TNF for all 82 games of the NBA. Now, obviously, again, with the NBA, there's the local TV stuff, which has to be ironed out because obviously the NBA has a lot more local TV stuff than the NFL, so that needs to be ironed out. But like that's just where it is. So I'm happy for that because I want that. That's what I want. I want stuff built around the NBA. That's the NBA that I grew up on. That was the NBA on NBC. Everything was built around the one game. You had inside stuff. It was built around the whole slate of games, but more the NBC slate of games. That's what I want. That's what I grew up on. I don't want Stephen A. Smith or whoever on commentary. And this is real famous for what happens on TNT with Stan Van Gundy. Back in my day, the NBA was this, and this. And I'm like, dude, get off my, like, I literally have been trying to stay away from this because the sports media industry is a small world and you don't want to piss people off. But with this, I'm going to piss people off. I will be so happy when Warner and ESPN lose those rights because they don't add anything to these games.
No,
they don't.
And maybe that's kind of more what I'm saying is that maybe if this another conglomerate takes it, something will be different. Something will change. I don't know.
No, look. Hold on. We got a lot is going. There's a lot going on. You hear my background going off.
I do. I hear the dinging
with these noties, but like. RC is a big fan of Charles Barkley. There's some news with that came out that if Warner does lose the rights, he's one of the few people at that company that has an opt-out when Warner loses these rights. So even they know that they don't do a good job of doing the basketball. So like I am of the mindset that I'm kind of answering the next question, but I am of the mindset that whoever loses between ESPN and Warner, the basketball world will be better for it because it needs to go to people who actually respect the NBA and doesn't do what David Zaslav does and say, we're at Warner. We don't need the NBA. I'm sure he wishes he took that back in the midst of negotiations. But, I mean, the NBA is about to test that theory. And I wouldn't mind because I was just talking about this with Morgan off air. Like, I like the draft, but I don't think I think what ESPN does, putting that on the main ABC channel instead of putting an NBA game and just putting the draft where it belongs on ESPN. Like for people who really want to watch it, put it there. Don't blow up my television when I would rather see Sixers, Knicks, Bucks, Pacers. I want to see NBA playoff basketball. I want to see playoff hockey. Why is that relegated to ESPN and ESPN2 for a crapshoot that never ends well? Like that is what the draft is. It's a crapshoot that doesn't end well. So I'm gonna get off this before I get in trouble. But yeah, so NBC is planning to offer $2.5 billion to get the rights as well. So Morgan, let's make your prediction. Who's going to lose? Will it be Disney or WB? So let me just say this, just for the education of the people. So NBC/Comcast is offering $2.5 billion. For those of you that don't know, the current rights of the NBA with ESPN and Disney, with Disney and Warner Brothers right now, is $0.2 billion more than that. So they make $2.7 billion. Now, those of you that are financial people are probably like, why don't they just round it up? So I'll round it up. $3 billion is what they make off the current rights right now. So, and NBC/Comcast is offering basically $0.2 billion less than what the NBA makes right now to probably put it on Peacock and the main NBC channel. But Morgan, go ahead. I don't know what your thoughts.
Yeah,
What your thoughts
I know nothing. Like I said, I work for NBC, so I have to say that, but I know nothing. I really don't. I'm so far above my pay grade. But I mean, I know that we do really well with these live broadcasts, and people enjoy doing them. And so I mean, I would love for NBC to get it. I would love to work on some more NBA stuff. So yeah, it's kind of all I know. I don't know who's going to win out. I'm sure there's more to these deals than just this money. I'm sure there's marketing and branding and all that stuff. And, I'm sure that it's probably enticing that NBC does the Olympics as well. USA basketball can kind of tie that all together. But besides that, I don't really know much more than the general public does on this.
Yeah, I mean, I look, man, as the old head in comparison to the two of us, I grew up, like I said, on NBC having the NBA, so I would welcome that because I would love to hear dun 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 again. So I'm all for that. I would love to see inside stuff come back. Maybe just not with Ahmad Rashad, just because he's older. I would love for hit here NBC, put Morgan on. Put us on. This could be your basketball coverage right here. So I'm all for that. Like I said, obviously a bunch of us, if you're a millennial or a older Gen Z, you probably remember growing up on the NBA on NBC because up until 2000, was it 4 or 5? That's where you were watching the NBA. So I'm all for NBC getting it back. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Peacock and how that will work if they have Amazon Prime and Peacock. But I am of the mindset that basketball needs to be in front of as most eyes as it can be, and I think NBC offers that. So I'm all for it. I
don't, and I know nothing, but I would love the more live sports I think that we have at NBC. I think is the best. I think that we do a really good job with all of the broadcasts that we do. We have some really talented people that work on them, and some people who have been working in the industry for a really long time. And I would love it. I think it would be awesome. So
yeah. To answer the second
NBA
half,
choose NBC, I guess.
yeah.
Right?
To answer the second half of this question, we know it's not going to be Disney because it's Disney. So it'll be WB that loses these rights. And I think Charles Barkley is basically putting out feelers as we speak. That's why we know that he has this opt-out clause if WB loses the rights. Because I think everybody knows, especially if you work at WB, with who's in charge right now with David Zaslav. I think everybody knows that, because I remember Morgan and I talked about how that was one of our first he's not him, she's not her, they aren't them, about his comments about how I was like, you pissed off the wrong league because the NBA has a long memory and you are in the wrong part of negotiations to be like, we don't need the NBA when that's your whole sports portfolio right now. So I think the NBA is about to show them better than they can tell them. So I think WB is about to lose them rights. But it could be Disney too. Who knows? So I don't know. Like Morgan said, we don't know anything. We'll find out. But I'm of the mindset that it's probably going to either be a combination of Disney, Amazon, Netflix, or Disney, Amazon.
My assumption, and again, I know nothing, would be something kind of like what they did with Big Ten, where they split it up between 3 major conglomerates. There are so many games, and what's the problem is that when there's so many games, they're all on one network, they kind of get diluted, and then some of them get pushed to the local networks, and then they're blacked out for people. So say you're from New York and you are living in the DC, sometimes it's hard to watch your games because X, Y, and Z. And I think that's really hard for people, and they get mad, and I get it. I'd be mad too. I get mad too. I live in DC, and I live here. I'm a fan of DC for a lot of sports, and I can't get Monumental. I have to pay for it if I wanted to get it, and I can't watch stuff, and it sucks.
Well, as somebody who's in a top four market, it doesn't have that problem. But yeah, like I totally understand that. Like basketball, hockey, and baseball to a lesser extent get these raw deals. Where like yeah, if it's on your local station and it's not a national televised game, you may miss out. But obviously, it does depend on your market. Like, and I live in a market where most of the Sixers games end up on NBC Sports Philadelphia, and they have an app. But obviously, like Morgan said, these RSNs, you have some basketball teams are with Valley Sports, some basketball teams are with Sinclair. So it all depends on the RSN. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. So to wrap this up, so is the NBA about to put the NFL to shame with how much money it's about to make off of the streaming and broadcast rights? Yes, it is. Right now, again, the NBA makes $3 billion with no streaming, split between two networks, TNT and ESPN, and obviously the RSNs. So yeah, the NBA, the NFL is about to be real jealous when it comes to this stuff. And again, we don't know I don't know, Morgan, were you able to find what the NFL is currently making off the new deal with NBC, ESPN, and CBS?
No, I was not.
No? Okay, so it's not publicly available. But we're going to assume it's like $4, $5, $6 billion. And I'm just gonna say right now, just with Amazon alone, and if NBC is we know publicly with the rumors that NBC is offering about $3 billion too. The only offer that we don't know that's in the wind right now is Netflix. We don't know what Netflix and Apple are offering the NBA. That's the only two networks we don't know what they're offering. But because it's Apple and Netflix, you can assume it's a couple $1 billion. So,
Yeah.
so like, I'm going to say that like when this is all said and done, and again, I know nothing too, but as Morgan knows, I'm pretty accurate with the guesses. So like I'm gonna say that they're gonna make about $6 to $8 billion when it's all said and done off these rights because the NBA is gonna get, unlike the NFL, the NBA is not gonna be afraid to dip their toes in that streaming. So they're gonna put all the games on streaming. And the one thing that hasn't been said here is the WNBA, which is also under the NBA, is gonna look for its own rights deal. And hint, if you're a big, if you're a Caitlin Clark fan, a Paige Beckers fan, like you got you got some things about the WNBA and where it's going to be. So if the NBA is smart, they're probably dual negotiating to get the WNBA with Amazon, NBC, and whoever else gets it. So that way they're making double the amount of money and making more than that. So I'm just going to say $6 to $8 billion. Somebody's probably rolling their eyes right now. But again, Amazon, we know NBC is willing to offer $2.5 billion. We don't know. We don't know what ESPN is going to offer. We don't know what WB is trying to offer, and we don't know. And Netflix and Apple are the boogeymen because they're just waiting for somebody to not give the NBA what they're looking for them to swoop in and be like $9 billion. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Morgan, you got any guesses? You want to throw your hat in there?
No, I don't want to throw my hat in. I don't know anything, but I don't want to throw my hat in. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of money, and it's going to be good for whoever gets it.
Come on, it's fun. Throw it in there. Who cares? Throw it in there.
$25 billion. That's my guess.
Throw it in there. All right, so the Morgan's favorite thing. We're finally going to get into what every one of y'all really cared about this weekend besides me and any basketball or hockey playoff fan right now. The NFL draft.
We did it, guys. We did it.
What a great time. Outside, like I said last week, outside of the number one pick, it was a crapshoot, and it was. So congratulations to all the draft picks. Morgan, I'm gonna let you do this. What was your reaction to what happened with the NFL?
I found it was a really chalk draft, honestly. Kind of went exactly how we expected it, which is good and bad. There were only a few surprises. We'll get to Michael Penix Jr. I think that was probably the biggest surprise, but
Zach Bowers not going to the defense.
Yeah. But I had fun. It's a great draft. I'm really happy for these kids. As a Giants fan, I am extraordinarily excited and happy. I got who we wanted. It's great. These kids are awesome. I got to get to know a lot of them at the draft. It's fun to see their personalities shine. We got everyone kind of has fallen in love with Keon Coleman in the last couple days. And I love JJ for the Vikings. I think that's a absolute great pick. It makes sense. I was actually, if they didn't take Malik, I wanted them to take JJ. So I'm excited. I think that, again, I am not shocked by anything. Nothing doesn't make sense in my brain. The only one that doesn't make sense is the Michael Penix Jr. to me. It's not that it doesn't make sense. Like, obviously, maybe there's more going on with the Achilles than we know. But it's just always, it surprises me sometimes how people handle things. Like, why didn't Kirk Cousins know beforehand? But how about you, Kylan? Were you happy with your Eagles drafts?
Oh man, you already know, bro. This gets into the next question. I mean, who won the draft? Let's talk about it. The Eagles, man. I mean, the Eagles are the only team that has everybody scratching their heads every time. And everybody's like, I'm sure Chris Sims and Florio probably said this multiple times before the draft started. Don't let the Eagles get that secondary right. Sure enough, what happens? Quinyon Mitchell. Honestly, I was surprised. I thought they would take Terry and Arnold, but they wound up taking Quinyon. Great pickup there, a shutdown corner. Cooper DeJean, who I didn't really know about. I'll have to shout this guy out.
Cooper DeJean.
DeJean. Oh, okay. He's not. It's not a DeJean. Okay.
No. He's a white boy from Iowa.
Okay. So. All right. So Cooper DeJean. And I have to give a shout out because I had no idea. I mean, I knew that there was this because Iowa always has these hard hitting safeties. So I knew that he was a hard hitting safety out of Iowa. But I have to give a shout out to my boy Devin Reed, who was asking me. Is a church member of mine. Goes to my church. Very, 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 very big Eagles fan. Big Villanova Wildcats. So hate your UConn Huskies. So he was the one who put me on the Cooper DeJean. And, I'm happy. I'm happy that the Eagles got who they wanted to get, shored up the secondary. I was really surprised that they didn't get. I said this last week before the draft, as RC, a lot of people who watched it can tell you. I thought that the Eagles would if he fell to them, take Brock Bowers, but he wound up going to Oakland, which I was very surprised about. But it is what it is. So I think that was the biggest surprise for me, him going to the Raiders, even though I know that they love tight ends. I just really don't think that he's he don't get me wrong, he's a backbreaker. He's probably the best receiver here outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. I just don't think he fits with the Raiders. But I'm happy for my Raiders fans in my life who are very, very happy that they got a tight end again. But I don't know if he's going to be the type of tight end that they need. But yeah, I think the Eagles won the draft. Was my other winner. Shout out to the Steelers. I think both PA teams got what they wanted. Got on the Pittsburgh side, got a receiver, real good receiver. Got an offensive lineman, shoring up the offensive line and everything else. Those are my winners, the Steelers and the Eagles. What about you?
I mean, I think you can't get the Bears. I think they did really, really well. I think getting him and Rome Odunze is awesome. I love Rome. So I actually I like Bo to the Broncos. I think that he'll do really well with Sean Payton there. I think that that's a good fit for both of them. And I mean, I wouldn't say that the Giants won the draft, but I was really happy with all of our picks.
Wait, not to cut you off. I want you to hold that thought. But if it doesn't work out for Bo Nix and with the Broncos, he could always just convert to tight end like he did with the other quarterback. So go ahead. And finish your thought.
I mean, yeah. Who else? Yeah. Cooper's going to be great. He's super fun to watch, honestly. He's a really, really nice guy. He's pretty soft-spoken. I like what the Bills did. They got some playmakers for Josh because it was definitely needed. And then I think the Commanders, I like what they did. I like Jaden Daniels for them. I think that that's a huge addition. and I'm excited. Like, I think that, as someone who grew up in the DC area, they're always a quarterback away, right? They always are a quarterback away, and they finally are rid of Dan Schneider. They have a new quarterback who's good, not just like maybe good, like actually good. Like, we know he's good. So I'm excited. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for my, friends down in DC. And I think this is a great draft. I think this is a really strong draft class across the board. And I think that these are going to be some names that we know for a long time.
Right. So which teams lost the draft? I don't know if you can really lose the draft by doing what you were supposed to do. But I like the Bills draft, but I don't think they did enough in getting playmakers to satisfy Josh Allen. Now, you all know who watched this show. I'm on the Josh Allen is leaving train very, very soon. I mean, he's dating Haley Steinfeld, and very, very soon she's gonna be like, I can't date losers. So not to lock up, not to like, make fun of the relationship, but I mean, it's true. She can't date the second best, arguably the third best offensive player in the AFC. He's got to get over the hump. He's got to beat Lamar, and he's got to beat the god of quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes. And I don't think he can do that with the weapons that they drafted for him. I'm happy that they got a running back. I'm happy that they added some wide receivers, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be enough to replace Stephon Diggs, the other wide receiver that they lost as well, their second best wide receiver. I thought they needed secondary help, which they didn't get. So I think that it's about to be they're lucky that the AFC East is such a crap show that like it'll be the Bills by default because the Jets suck. The Patriots are gonna do what they're gonna do, but they'll probably freak it up. It seems like Robert Kraft is on an ego trip, so he'll probably freak it up. And you've got, who'd I miss? The Dolphins. It should be the Dolphins, but they always find a way to screw it up by not committing to Tua. So it's gonna be the Bills by default. But to me, they lost the draft. I honestly think because I think they didn't do enough. I think the 49ers lost the draft too because again, Brandon Ayuk is already putting it out there that he's going to leave. He's going to get while the getting's good. Debo only has 2 more years left. I booed the guy in Lincoln Financial Field during WrestleMania when he was there. Greg Kittle isn't getting any younger. Like, you kind of needed something, and I don't think the 49ers got it. So those are my two, and a lot of people are going to be like, well, you don't like the Niners, but they make it easy to not like them when they do stuff like what they did by relying on the fact that they're going to Jedi mind trick Brandon Ayuk and assigning another deal. Go ahead. Who are your losers?
Yeah, I actually don't really have any losers. Again, I think losers are hard. Again, like kind of like you said, losers are hard when it comes to the draft. Like we just don't know, what we're doing, I guess. And that like, you don't know how people are going to turn out, if that makes sense. Like, and not that that's a bad thing, but I feel like we can say people that didn't necessarily get things that they need. Yeah, I don't, Drake May isn't my favorite. But I'm not necessarily sure I have anybody that's like strong losers. I don't agree with the Penix draft. I think they should have taken a receiver there. But so I guess maybe they would be the only ones I would say because I really think they should have taken a receiver there.
All right, well, let's get to it then. We have an issue with the Atlanta Falcons drafting Michael Penix after paying Kirk Cousins. All right, so this is the first time in a while that this has happened, just because she hasn't been here, but also because it's very rare that we disagree. But we disagree here. We disagree here because I am of the mindset that Michael Penix is was a good insurance policy for Kirk Cousins. It's not just because I think that if you're an older quarterback, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, Morgan, he's like what, 34, 35, somewhere in there? No, 34. Oh, 20. No, I'm talking about Kirk Cousins.
Oh, sorry. My dog is okay. If you don't know, I've said again for a million times, I'm getting married and we have just millions of wedding presents being delivered to us. And my dog is his mortal enemy is the mailman, and so the mailman has been to our house 6 times today, and he is losing his mind. So that's what the barking is. Why I keep going on mute, because you guys just do not want to listen to that. I don't want to listen to that. Kirk Cousins, I think he's 32.
He's 35. I just found
35. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
my lord.
Yeah. So I think again, he wouldn't be the first person, and I have everybody knows that the most famous people that deal with Achilles injuries are usually basketball players. We saw this with Kevin Durant, right? It takes you a while to recover from Achilles, and Kevin Durant doesn't have people jumping and trying to tackle him in his Achilles and by his feet. And I think it only takes like one bad. Now Kirk Cousins doesn't really run like that, but all it takes is one misstep when you're throwing the ball, one defensive lineman going under and hurting that Achilles again. Like, that's how he hurt it the first time playing the 49ers. So, I think Michael Penix is great insurance. If I'm Kirk Cousins, I wouldn't take it personally. Like I said, he's 35. I'm not as old as him, but like in football years, that's like basically 50. So I think like once people start seeing that, they'll understand that they might have needed a tight end, a wide receiver. I don't know. I think Atlanta's kind of full with the tight end and the wide receiver duo, but yeah, they probably could have gotten. I think Morgan should be happy they didn't take a wide receiver, because they probably would have taken Malik Neighbors. I think that I think it was great insurance policy. I said this off air. I told Morgan I'd say it on air. I honestly think that Kirk Cousins had this year and next year before they benched him anyway. So I think that it's a 3-year deal. I think only 2 of those years are guaranteed. And I think that I think it was a great pick by the Falcons. I think it was one of their smarter picks. And I just think that you need 2 quarterbacks, especially, when you have one that's 35 years old. I think you need insurance. I think the Jets showed that last year with their older quarterback, that you need insurance. And I think that the Falcons got insurance, and a smart GM gets insurance. And that's what he did.
It's fair.
What about you? I know you disagree.
Yeah, I just think, and again, I don't disagree with the drafting of him. That's not what I disagree with. I disagree with how early they were drafted. That makes sense. Like, I think they could have gotten a solid backup if they're drafting a backup quarterback, you don't draft your first round pick. Your first pick shouldn't be your backup quarterback. That's how I feel. I mean, again, they might be. It might be that they are way more worried about his Achilles than we know. I don't know. I don't really have an answer to that. I just think they should have taken a receiver or somebody on
what did they pick at 5?
Yeah.
I get that. And look, like, it's not a hard disagree. It's just a little bit of a disagreement, just because I don't think he's gonna last. I don't think he's getting past. I think Kirk Cousins will be retired by 37. If not voluntarily, he's gonna be a backup by next year. That's just, and I think that Penix is. I've said this before. Morgan knows how I feel about Michael Penix. I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. I think we're gonna look back on it, and he's gonna be the star of this draft, right along with Marvin Harrison Jr. And even though I hate to say it, because he's currently somebody I'll have to see twice a year, Malik Neighbors as well. But I thought that was a good pick. Now we get to what we all care about. AJ Brown, 3-year contract extension. Your reaction to this, Morgan?
I mean, why would you not? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't we all kind of know that this was coming? Like,
well, unless you are a sports radio personality host at some of the stations here in Philly who were trying to get him to leave. But yeah, I think we all knew this was coming.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, are you happy with it?
I am. I think like, anybody who listens to this thing again, I'm going to put the reporter hat on, not the Eagles fan hat on. But, I said that I think Devontae Smith and AJ Brown's contract should mirror each other. And I'm glad that Howie Roseman listens to smart Philadelphians because he did what I thought he should have done. It's a good way to keep Jalen Hurts happy, and that's what you want to do, and satisfied. The only thing that I did like that the Eagles did was that they didn't get a tight end, and I'm only saying this because Dallas Goedert has 2 years left on his contract. The Eagles, AJ Brown, the Eagles really value tight end, but I think getting AJ Brown, maybe that means they'll re-sign Dallas Goedert, or maybe they know that a big name at tight end is going to be requesting a trade soon. I don't really know. But I'm excited for AJ Brown. I think it's great. He said he wants to retire an Eagle, and I think, hey, when they're committed to a city, a team, and committed to a quarterback, that you keep that core together and then you work it out from there. So I love the fact that you've got offensive linemen now that have contracts until 2028, 2029. You've got a wide receiver core that has it that long, and you've got Jalen Hurts who has a contract until 2028, 2029 too. So great job, Howie Roseman. Good job. I really, really, really love it. So
this is getting into the next question, which I will let you take.
Yes. Was this Howie Roseman's best offseason in his career? What do you think? I'm gonna let you start.
I would have said I think maybe last season was really good. I think that their last season's draft, it felt better to me. I don't know if it necessarily ended up being better, but like the last season, I don't know what it was, just like felt better to me. But I mean, he's the best. Like he's great. I don't know what else to say. Like he's so good at keeping these players, getting new players. Like he's a genius when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and the crazy part is he lost his cap guru because that guy I think is going, to the Giants, where he's looking for GM roles. He loses people all the time. Like the GM of the Browns is a former Eagles guy. Like he loses. The Eagles lose people all the time. And he still keeps going, and that's the thing about Howie Roseman. Like ever since Chip Kelly put Howie in the corner, he's come back stronger. Like it's like you didn't get rid of me; it only made me stronger. And what was that Thanos line? Like you couldn't live with your own failure, you came back to me anyway. Like that's Howie Roseman, man. Like I don't know why these GMs take his phone call because he always takes their lunch money. Like I don't know why you answer the call. Like if it's a Philadelphia number, hang on. If it's a Philadelphia or a South Jersey number, don't take the call if you're a GM, because Howie Roseman is going to take your best asset. Like, and again, man, like lost the running back to Chicago, got Saquon. Like lost. Looks like James. It looks like Morgan's favorite player, James Bradbury, has lost a step. All good. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, come on down. Like I'm just amazed at the fact that this man just finds ways to replace people. And like Morgan said, I didn't even mention the fact that Jalen Carter now without Fletcher Cox is probably about to become an even bigger monster than he was, because he had to split time with Fletcher Cox. Now he doesn't have to do that anymore. He can play every down. So like, it's going to be crazy. And it's just a crazy time. I don't know if this will be, I kind of asked this question. Right now, this is the best offseason of his career, but he's got the next few years to blow my mind even more. So I don't know. But yeah, this right now is the best.
It was very good. It was very, very, very good, I have to say.
Yeah, and now we get to the playoff basketball part of this. So you want to take this one?
You start with it.
Okay. So the Minnesota Timberwolves burn the Phoenix Suns. For those of you, obviously Morgan was in Vegas, but for those of you who have been watching and paying attention, you know that the Timberwolves swept the Suns. I don't think, like I said, I thought this series was going 5 games. Anthony Edwards said, nah, you're wrong. You got the prediction right. You just got the amount of games wrong. He did it in 4 games. And what a star. I mean, Morgan knows. I've been singing the praises of Anthony Edwards since about last summer. A product out of the University of Georgia that most people forgot. Like, the Timberwolves seem ready, dog. Like, they didn't make it past the first round this year. They're making it past the first round. They're making it past the first round this year. And now they got to face the Nuggets. But what a time, man. I thought the Suns would go down, but I thought the greatness of KD and Devin Booker, as we talked about on this show before, would give them one game, but only four. And I don't we're going to get to this in a minute, but yeah, the Timberwolves seem ready. They've got a good defense. They're long, they're lengthy. Rudy Gobert, as some of y'all know, the person who brought on the basketball apocalypse that was the pandemic and the bubble, seems like he's redeemed himself. These are not Jimmy Butler's Minnesota Timberwolves. It seemed like they have taken on the full personality of Anthony Edwards, and I love it. I love it, man. I love it. I love a player who wants to smoke. As somebody who's a fan of a player here that wants to smoke, a couple of players here that want to smoke, and Joel Embiid, Bryce Harper, and Jalen Hurts. I love people who want to smoke. So go on, Ant-Man. Rumble, young man, rumble. Go on, man. Go take the Joker out. I don't know if you'll be able to do it, but I mean, if there's any player that can do it, I think it's him.
Yeah. I mean, they look good. It's been fun. It's been I have been I like the Timberwolves. I think they're I don't know. They're a fun team. There's so much going on. They're stomping all over the court and celebrating in people's faces, and I am excited for them. I was watching a game a couple nights ago, and it's just I was they are freaking fun. I don't, that's all I can say is they're just they're fun. They're crazy. They're a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it gets to the next question. You were saying, do we have a problem with the way Anthony Edwards trash talk KD during the series? For those that don't know, you probably saw the GIF of him doing the whole DX suck it thing. And again, I'm a fan of Joel Embiid, who gets fined every time he does that gesture. So I don't know if Anthony Edwards had to write a check to the league, but look, man, he's 22. KD was his favorite player. Not many of us get to the point where we're able to face our idol on a basketball court, in 4 games. So, look, I have no problem with it. I think, KD didn't seem like he had a problem with it. What can you do? As Morgan and I often say, if you don't like the way the other team is celebrating, stop them. And the Suns didn't do it. So, the Timberwolves were too young for the Suns. And, I have no problem with him saying suck it. I have no problem with him, as Morgan said, berating KD and Devin Booker on and up the floor. He dunked on the whole team. Get that man in a dunk contest tomorrow, the NBA. What are y'all doing? Anthony Edwards is the man. I have no problem with the way he celebrated. Rumble, young man, rumble. I can't wait to see him trash. I can just imagine, if they win the first game, him just trash talking Jokic up and down the court. I love it. The idea of this, I love. I'm probably not going to pick them against the Nuggets, having said all that, but we're going to get to it. But, man, I am so excited for this Nuggets-Timberwolves series. I honestly fear for Nikola Jokic if Jamal Murray isn't healthy, because he's going to have to put in a lot to beat the Timberwolves. But
yeah,
as far as this series goes, no problem with Anthony Edwards doing the whole suck it gesture. No problem with him trash talking. Like I said, if you hate it, stop him.
I agree. I have no issue with it. I really don't. I think it's fun. I think that it's basketball. It's fun. It's the playoffs. I think it's awesome.
As 2 former basketball players, or I'm not going to speak for Morgan, I'm going to speak for me. I never trash talk people, but I know that's the funnest aspect of the sport when you're in the park or on your street or in your cul-de-sac neighborhood. You're shooting hoops, and the person you don't like is on you, and you make a shot, and you're all like, it's going to be a bad. Some of you, I'm going to say it clean. Some of y'all are probably saying it's going to be an effing bad, but I'm going to say it in the clean way. It's going to be a bad day for you. I know some of y'all got rap. Y'all like Kevin Garnett. Y'all cursing people out, cursing their moms out, saying, I'm gonna dunk on you. I'm gonna dunk on your mama. I'm gonna take your sister out on a date after this. Some of y'all be saying some raunchy stuff when y'all playing basketball. But I have no problem with it. And Morgan knows. Were you a trash talker? This is a good question. Were you a trash?
A little bit. I definitely let people. I mean, I played in high school. How much can you really trash talk in high school? But a little bit for sure. Yeah.
She's probably like, how you think I got Dan? That's how I got him. Oh man, yeah. All right, got it. All right. So if you were the GM, the Suns GM, how would you fix the team? Morgan, you want to take this one, or you want me to take it first?
I don't know. I just feel like every year it's the same conversation in the postseason, right? It's like you get close, but you're not there. Every year. Every year. And I don't know what they need to do to like get over that edge. Like I don't know. What do you think? I just something obviously has to change because every year postseason we're having the same conversation. And it's crazy. It's like, come on.
Yeah, so I think they need to. The first thing I think they need to do is they need to keep Devin Booker in the thing, kind of like the Warriors. Their window is keeping Devin Booker, and everybody else is expendable, like even Kevin Durant. So I think that the first thing you do is that you trade the DMV's favorite wizard, Bradley Beal. I say that half jokingly because I know most of y'all don't like him. like I know most of y'all don't like Bradley Beal, but you trade Bradley Beal. I feel like I know he's got an NTC, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, a no trade clause. But I don't even know why you let basketball players have a no trade clause, but he has one. So the Suns have to figure that one out, but I think that's the first thing you do. You trade Bradley Beal, you get some draft picks for that. It seems like this is going to be a really, really loaded draft coming up. So you do that. You figure out. You ask Kevin Durant if he's committed or not, and if he's not, you trade him too. Preferably, you trade both of them to an Eastern Conference team. You don't let them be in the West. Just because you don't want to see them. So you trade them to an Eastern Conference team. Maybe you send Bradley Beal to New York, and Kevin Durant to Philly. Just saying. You do that. And then you just try to get young. You keep Devin Booker. If he wants to stay or not. Maybe he doesn't want to go through another rebuild. So if he doesn't want to go through another rebuild, I would say this. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a fan of a team in the same division as them. I think you do. I know Stephen A. Smith putting out there that Devin Booker wants to go to New York. I think you do everything possible to not send him to New York. I think if you send them to New York, you send them to Brooklyn. I think that you need to do everything that you possibly can if you're the Phoenix Suns GM. And if I was the Phoenix Suns GM, I'm sending Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal to two East Coast teams. I'm sending Devin Booker. I'm probably keeping Devin Booker, and if he wants to go, I'm trading him to every team not named the New York Knicks. And then I'm just going to collect draft picks if I have to do it and just go through a rebuild. I think if you can't keep Devin Booker, if Devin Booker wants to stay, you got to separate Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. Especially, I know that's going to suck for Suns fans because they just got him. But I mean, this is the second team. He's built a big three, not him, but somebody's built a big three around him, and they don't get past the first round. I mean, at this point, KD's not getting any younger. You got to send him somewhere where he can just enjoy the later years of his career. At this point,
I mean, how much longer do you really think he has?
Yeah, probably like 2 to 3 more years. I think.
Okay.
I don't like putting a date on this just because I feel like everybody's been saying the same thing about LeBron and he keeps getting better. So, but I realistically knowing KD probably 2 to 3 more years. I mean, he's from Prince George, which isn't far from you. I mean, what do you think? I mean, you were hearing about Kevin Durant before I was, so because you lived there, so.
Yeah, I mean, I would say 2 more years. If he had played more than that, I think it might be more of just a star power name playing rather than talent wise. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So I think that's what you do. You try and keep Devin Booker, and if you can't, you just trade everybody to an East Coast team. You don't trade them to the Knicks because can you imagine that if the Knicks somehow have Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell, because Donovan Mitchell is also rumored to want to come home to the Knicks too. I think that's too much cocky Knick fan energy for it to happen. So I am of the mindset that like I said, you trade Beal and Durant, get some role players and get some draft picks, and You try and keep Devin Booker, and if he doesn't want to be there, then you trade him to everybody in the East, not named the Knicks. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the bigger question: is this the end of the Big Three era in the NBA? I'm gonna say no. I don't think so. I think that like the current Big Three era as we know it, where you get three free agents together, and like you just take the L, especially now with the new CBA is over. Now that the NBA has basically designed the CBA to kill three free agents coming together because they have like the second apron. RC says trade everyone. But yeah, like this is why I get a little bit more nerdy. Do I have a permission to get CBA nerdy?
Get nerdy.
Yeah, so like the second apron, so for those of you that don't know, the second apron is this, like the first apron are teams that are way under the tax, the luxury tax. So the first apron is if you're under the second apron and the first apron, you can take back money in trades. You can go into the buyout market during trades. This is what the Sixers did. It's what the Timberwolves did. It's what the Knicks did. The Celtics not as much because they couldn't really do it because they have, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. So they couldn't really do it. So they punish you if you're over the luxury tax. So before you saw this with the Heat and you saw this with the Suns, that they would get these players, the D-Wades, the Chris Boshes of the world, and then go on the buyout market and take out all the old role players. Can't do that no more. So because you can't amass talent like that anymore, even old talent, but like RC said, this was going to be my point. Get out my brain, RC. Is like there got to be more home ground. So you already see it with the Sixers, right? Just for example, you got Joel Embiid, you got a homegrown talent like Tyrese Maxey. They're going to get rid of whether it ends tonight or tomorrow. They're going to they're going to get rid of Tobias Harris. And have $60 million in cap space once he comes off and once James Harden's money comes off at the end of this year. So it's going to be like that. You got to build the team. Maybe you can get a free agent, but two of your contracts, two of your max spots have to already be filled. Obviously, the Sixers already have one. They're going to re-sign Maxey. That'll be two. And then whoever they get with the other one, that's where the majority of that 65 million is coming from. And so the Big Three era, as RC said, as I've said, as he's telling me to basically stay out of his head, is that's the Big Three era of getting three free agents together and doing it that way is done. But the homegrown talent and drafting it is still available. So it's going to be different of how you get to a Big Three or a Big Four, but you won't be able to get it. You'll be able to add one big free agent and then role players.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, the Big Three era, as we know it from when we were growing up, is dead. The new Big Three is draft, grow players, and see what happens. What you think?
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think that's exactly right. I don't really honestly have much else to say besides that. I think you're right.
All right. So the Denver Nuggets get the Lakers up out of here. Reacts. Now again, I was wrong. RC was right. I was wrong. He told me that it would end in 5 games. I said 6 or 7. And RC was right. I was wrong. I mean, I got the result right. I said Nuggets over Lakers in 5 instead of, I think I said in 5 or I think I said in 6. He was the one that was saying 4 to 5 games. RC, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But again, another one. Got the result. Got the team right. Wrong amount of games. So, the Nuggets whooped up on the Lakers. They did it in 5 games. I know some of y'all were rooting for a sweep, but the Nuggets overwhelmed the Lakers as they often have done, right? Like, like Jamal Murray on one leg really buried the Lakers, buried them alive, did it all, man. And that's really what it was. Unfortunately for the Lakers, Anthony Davis, AD went down, or some of y'all often call him Mr. Street Clothes. Went down, got injured, played through it, but it didn't really go well for him. And the Lakers are up out of here. I think that the Lakers need to get younger. Magic Johnson is saying it. I'm saying that the Lakers need to get younger. I'm hearing, I won't tell y'all from who, but I'm hearing that this was LeBron's last. Now take this with a grain of salt, but this was LeBron's last season as a Laker, is what I'm hearing. You heard it here first, but that's what I'm hearing. Um, you know, I say I don't know a lot, but some people have been putting it out there that I follow on Twitter and stuff, and that's why I say take this with a grain of salt, because I don't necessarily know this source as well as I would like, but that's what this person is saying, and I don't know if that'll be true or not, but from what I'm hearing, it might be his last year as a Laker, and we'll see where he winds up. But yeah, so the Nuggets might have done the impossible and gotten LeBron out of LA. He got one championship. So you know, uh, RC says LeBron got the Lakers franchise handicapping of the year or two. He thinks that's sad, but that's what happens. That's what happens again. That's when you get these. Kevin Durant has handicapped the Suns. The Lakers are handicapped by LeBron. So like that's what happens when you go star hunting, right? Like it has its ups and downs. Like the Nuggets are a homegrown team. Obviously, they drafted Nikola Jokic, drafted Jamal Murray, got MPJ, and all the other parts of that team are either free agents or draft picks. That's how you got to build it now, and just hope that the team chemistry comes together. And the Nuggets look good. They did what they needed to do. They beat the Lakers, and I hats off to Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, man. They're a real good duo. That's really all you can say about that one. You got anything to add, Morgan? All right.
No, I wasn't able to watch as much of this stuff last weekend as I wanted to with draft and Vegas.
All right. So
time stands still in Vegas, or it moves really fast.
Yeah. So the second round matchup that I teased, the Timberwolves versus the Nuggets. Woo! Winner plays OKC in the Western Conference Finals. Obviously, I know there's another round, but like we're gonna get to this in a minute. Like, do y'all really think after watching the Clippers and the Mavs last night that either one of those teams can beat the Thunder? I don't. So like I just am of the mindset that whoever wins this game is then going to lose to the Thunder. So I think this series is going 7 games. And I just think that I want to say that the greatness of Anthony Edwards and the greatness of Karl Anthony Towns, defending Nikola Jokic, he can because he's tall enough and lanky enough, he can make it difficult on Jokic. But I just don't know if they have. I know they have Mike Conley. Sorry, I use his full government. He doesn't go by that. Mike Conley. I know they have him, but I don't know if he really has anything for Jamal Murray. And that's just my thing. Like, who's going to defend Jamal Murray outside of that? I know they have Michael. I know they have. See, I keep saying Michael. I know they have Mike Conley. I know they have Jordan McLaughlin. But I just don't know who's going to defend Jamal Murray well enough to help them win. And so I think I've got Nuggets in 7. But I still think the Timberwolves are coming. Morgan knows I've been on this Timberwolves train for a couple of years now. So I think the Timberwolves are coming. I think they are a top 3 team in the Western Conference. I just don't think that they have it right now for the Nuggets or the Thunder. So yeah, I think Nuggets in 7 here. I think an X factor is going to be, like I said, whose bench is going to show up. Where this Nuggets team is weak at is the bench. I mean, if you can get them to the bench, I think that you have a chance. So I think that you have a chance if you can get the Nuggets to the bench, if you can get Nikola Jokic in foul trouble. I don't think that the bench of the Nuggets can really compete with the Timberwolves. So I think if the Timberwolves bench can outscore the Nuggets bench and they can really make the Nuggets pay during the non-Jokic minutes, and I think the Timberwolves can win in 6 to 7 games. But I think my pick is the Nuggets in 7. I just think Jokic. I don't think Jokic is going to be too much, especially if Karl Anthony Towns guards him. I just think the Jamal Murray problem. So I think Jamal Murray is a big X factor for the Nuggets and MPJ. If both of them are hitting shots, then I think Nuggets in 7. And I think it's going to be hard for the Timberwolves to overcome that. But I'm willing to be wrong there. But I think it's Nuggets. I think it's Nuggets in 7, and I think Jamal Murray and MPJ are going to have a lot to say about if the Nuggets win or not. Just because I think Jokic is going to have to deal with Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, and I think he will not have as good of games. I forgot about that. Yes, RC, that's the defender I was thinking. Jaden McDaniels, former Sixer. But yeah, he'll have MPJ. Um, but yeah, so I think they'll have to figure out who's going to guard Murray and who's long enough to stop him. And right now, the only person I'm coming up with, RC and Morgan and audience, is Mike Conley. It's Mike Conley, and I think if this was the Mike Conley of 5 or 6 years ago, then I wouldn't have no problem. But the Mike Conley that's 34, 35 years old, trying to not get crossed up by Jamal Murray, I think it's going to be a hard ask for him. So. But that's just me, and those are the X factors. That's my serious prediction. Nuggets and 7. Morgan, you got anything to add to that?
I think that's. I don't know if it's gonna go 7. I could see 5, but I think it's gonna be a really good series. I'm excited. I think there's gonna be there's lots of. I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna make me sound like a basketball novice. But like, there's lots of very tall people, and it's very exciting. Like, this is like a fun, like, clash of the bigs. Like, I'm excited, and I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, RC's got a comment for us. He loves his Timberwolves, but he thinks his time to be a championship level candidate will be in the next year or two. Yeah, I think so too. Yep, in the first round. You think so? Okay. Yeah, he agrees with me. Denver in 6 or 7. So yeah, Morgan thinks Denver in 5. Anthony Edwards, if you want to use that as motivation, go right ahead. But I'm saying Denver is 6 or 7, just out of respect for the greatness of Anthony Edwards. But all right, OKC Thunder blazed the Pelicans again. Like I said, while Morgan was on her vacation and having her breaks, I was on this basketball train. So for those of you that have been watching my basketball videos, I thank you for the support. I think that RC says Edwards is going to dunk on someone's brain again. He will. We see we got Mike. Is that Mike? You got a dog?
Yes, Mike. Yeah, Mike. Mike, you on the podcast?
Mike.
You're on there.
Mike.
He's like, where's that coming from? If you're here, you can't bark, so that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So OKC Thunder blazed the Pelicans again. This is going to be a hard ass for the Pelicans without Zion Williamson. Hey, Mike, you're looking at the camera now. Good job. Yeah, he's like, where's that? Yeah, but that was going to be a hard ass without Zion. Like I said, CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram would have had to go God mode, and unfortunately, they couldn't go God mode against the lengthiness of the Thunder. Lou Dort really put both of them in jail and made it difficult on them. And I just think that the Thunder are the up-and-coming team, and it's going to be hard for the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, or anybody else to knock the Thunder off. They're going to show whoever wins between the Clippers and the Mavs why they shouldn't have won. So I think that the Thunder are going to end up in the Western Conference Finals. They're already the youngest 1 seed to get to the second round, and I think they're going to make more history on their way to the Western Conference Finals.
Do you think that Zion, do you think he has an injury problem? Like, do you think this is gonna something that continues? Like, what do you think it is?
So I think for him, right, he's gonna have to learn. And I hate saying this because people say the same thing about Joel Embiid. I don't like telling people who are athletic and big that they need to lose weight, but in this case, it was just bad luck. Like they were saying, he was getting his body control. Like if you listen to the commentary all the time, this is why I say I hate like a lot of the national broadcast is for casuals, because they'll be like, well, Zion has to lose weight, and then he loses weight, scores 40 points, and gets injured. so like, I just think that, like, Steph Curry had this, Joel Embiid has this currently. Like, some players are just really good players and they just get injured. They just have bad injury luck. Eventually Steph Curry grew out of it. Joel Embiid just really has some bad injury luck. But I just think, like, he's a superstar that needs to be, like, somewhat managed, and you can't really do that anymore thanks to the new CBA. So he's just got to play, manage his body. And I mean, that's what happens when you're a high flyer. Like, it happened to Dwayne Wade. It happened to Vince Carter. When you're a high flyer, you get injured because you dunk in, you laying the ball up, you're bowling people over. Like, in the play-in tournament, my man was truck sticking LeBron James. And I knew that's when LeBron was like, I'm too old for this. Like, he was getting truck sticked by Zion. So, like, it's just a major thing. RC is weighing in. He says not more than 65 games. He feels bad for him. Honestly, I think he'll be able to play like.
But here's the thing. Do you remember who they have sitting on their bench that may or may not have just won some big award in the G League?
Oh, Jordan, your boy?
No, that's wrong team.
Oh.
Pelicans.
Oh, yeah. Is he Jordan's on the Pelicans, isn't he?
No. Jordan Hawkins is on. Oh, Jordan Hawkins is on the Pelicans. I'm the idiot. That's not the right team. I'm thinking of the Bulls who have
Drummond?
No, I'm all mixed up now. The big from UConn from 2 years ago, African from Mali.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, Sonogo, Adam Sonogo. Wow, yes. my brain just like legitimately short circuited.
Yes.
But yeah, no. Either way, yeah, Hawkins is waiting. He's there in the wings. He's gonna like come take his job.
Yeah, he'll be
lottery pick that sits on the Sorry, excuse my language. Sits on the bench the whole season.
Oh, we're getting to that, RC. We're getting to that because you weren't here for this. You got to watch the show and be going in on how they screwed the Sixers. You kind of knew I was going to go in on how they screwed the Sixers last week.
Yeah, I apologize for anyone who isn't a Philly fan for the last 2 weeks when I wasn't here. When Kylan was off his reign, he was off his leash when it came to Philly stuff.
So can anyone stop the Thunder in the Western Conference? I honestly think I just answered this question. No. The Nuggets have the best chance. And, like I said, whoever wins that series is going to lose to the Thunder. Because, again, the Thunder are lanky. I don't think I think Jokic will meet his match when he has to face Chet Holmgren. And I think that, I don't think anybody's going to be able to have anything for Lou Dortz. And I think that, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is just going to be a monster and take care of Jamal Murray. I think Jamal Murray will look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and say, yeah, I'm on a bad wheel and I have to deal with this guy. I don't think it's going to work out for either one of those teams. And I think it's not going to work out for the Mavs and the Clippers, who we're about to get to. But I don't think anybody in the Western Conference is going to stop the Thunder. I think the only team that's going to stop the Thunder are the Celtics, the Knicks, or the Sixers. I think that's it. And I don't even think that even those teams, I don't think they really have anything for the Thunder. So I am not saying that I think the Thunder are going to win the championship, but I'm not saying that either. So go ahead, Morgan. You got anything to add? Can anybody stop the Thunder?
I don't know. I feel like we're getting to the place where like anybody can stop anybody. I don't know. I just feel like they all look so good, and now these like good teams are starting to play each other. I just think it's going to get more and more interesting. And basketball, like at this level, basketball, like I feel like they don't go on runs as much. It's more like steadily decimating you, if that makes sense. But I am excited. I think it's going to be fun. I keep saying I'm excited because I haven't gotten to watch a lot of the games so far because I've been drafting and Vegasing. So I'm like excited to actually sit down and be able to watch some of these games.
Yeah, so definitely. Speaking of the Mavericks and Clippers, Luka Doncic put on a show yesterday.
Yeah, he looks so good.
35 points, 10 assists. I mean, Luka, man, put the team on his back after Kyrie Irving saved us behind last time. So even though they still lost that. We got some disagreement. Oh, okay. All right, RC, you think so? All right, you still got faith in the Nuggets during this. Okay, you got it. But I think this is a hard ass for the Clippers now without Kawhi Leonard. I said before this series that it would be Mavericks in 7 just because the Mavericks always seem to somehow beat the Clippers in the playoffs. So yeah, I think it'll be Mavericks that'll win. They're up 3-2 now. I think the Mavericks will win this series and then lose to the Thunder. And I honestly, just because the Mavericks really don't play defense, I think they'll get swept by the Thunder. But I said Mavericks in 7. I'm sticking to it. I think this series goes 7. I think James Harden and Paul George are good to extend this series, even though Harden just went 2 for 12 during a pivotal game. Went through this last year with him during the Celtics series, but I think that's the up and down train of James Harden. But I think he'll be better in 2 more days, and I think it'll be Mavericks in 7. What about you?
Mavs in, let's say Mavs in 6.
Okay, so you think next game is over? Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, we just answered this question, but can either of these teams beat the Thunder? No. No. All right. This will appease the people that are from your part of the woods. The Celtics beat the Heat. Yes. So again, this is another one. Hard ask due to injury. The East has basically become a battle of attrition now because most of the stars are injured, or they're playing through an injury. So yeah, the Celtics whooped on the Heat without Jimmy Butler. Like I said, it was going to be a hard ask without Jimmy Butler. Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo will have to go God mode, and they went God mode and made me not a liar. Celtics in 5 is what I said before this series, and that's exactly what I honestly say. You wouldn't trust James Harden with a $3 bill. But yeah, like I am of the mindset that the Celtics will beat Miami. The Celtics beat Miami, and they're now gonna face whoever wins between the Cavaliers and the Magic. They'll sweep them or do it in 5 games, and then they'll face whoever wins between the Sixers and or the Knicks and the Pacers and Bucks. They'll probably end up being Pacers facing the Sixers or the Knicks. And I just think that I think that the 2 teams, or the 1 team really, but to be fair to the Knicks, the 2 teams that can stop the Celtics are playing each other right now in the first round, and it really shouldn't have happened if the Sixers didn't get screwed. Firstly, in the regular season against the Clippers, and also if what's his name from the Warriors didn't land on Joel Embiid's knee, this never would have happened in this series, and this would have been a different series. But as it stands right now, the Celtics are the dominant team, but they are kind of vulnerable. And Morgan, do you have anything to add before I get to the next question?
No.
They are kind of vulnerable now with the Kristaps Porzingis injury. It kind of seemed like the Celtics just had, like, somebody was praying for them, or they were in some kind of bubble because everybody else was getting injured and there wasn't. And now, one of the most predictable things happened. Kristaps Porzingis got injured. If you're a Knicks fan, stop me if you heard this before. Porzingis is injured, or a Mavericks fan. This. This has been like the story of his life. But he did pretty well. He played throughout most of this season. But yes, I think the Celtics now are way more vulnerable. I think they don't want old Horford playing too many minutes. There's a reason why he's on the bench right now. So I think they don't want old Horford playing, and now they have to play him. And now he has to see, Paolo Banchero or Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, and Evan Mobley. And I think that's a bad formula for him. But even having said that, I still think the Celtics are way too dominant for either one of those teams, the Cavaliers or the Magic. And I think that they whoop up on the Cavaliers and Magic, look dominant, and don't start struggling until they get to the ECF to face the Sixers, Knicks, Bucks, or Pacers. So
I agree. Yeah.
So we just talked about this. The 6:30 game for today. The Bucks and the Pacers. Are you excited for this game? Like I said, the Bucks pulled off the impossible. Used that Bobby Portis. Shout out to
I love the Bucks. I love the Bucks. I love them. They're so fun. Pat Bev is I love him. I think he's so fun.
Shout out to my family in Arkansas. Bobby Portis put the team on his back. And now they've got a game 6. And the Pacers Bucks. And Giannis isn't gonna play. I think Dame might play, but I think even if he does, it's gonna be a hard ask for them to do something they haven't done in this series. Well, only once this series, which is beat the Pacers in the Loud House. all apologies to Syracuse because that is ours. But the loud house that is that field house, when you have to go to Indiana, and now that the Pacers are good, I just think Siakam and Halliburton will have something for them, and I think this will be the first postseason where we don't see Giannis because I don't think it's lasting. I said Pacers in 7, but I'm gonna say it's over. I'm gonna say it's over. I'm gonna say the Pacers putting into it tonight and do the first try, do the first pair for me, which is home teams winning tonight. So Pacers beat the Bucks. And I think that Halliburton and Siakam find their stroke. But if anybody can do the impossible, I think it's Portis. So and if
Yeah.
Dane's back, and then I think that they have a chance, but I don't know. But I think the Pacers ended tonight. What do you think?
No, I really don't want them to. I'm gonna say no because I think the Bucks are so fun. I'm rooting for the Bucks. I want to see them go on. So I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. I'm gonna say the Bucks are gonna win tonight. Just because I'm rooting for chaos and I like the Bucks and they're fun and I want to see them win. So that's what I'm rooting for.
Okay. Well, RC thinks I think he agrees with me that the Pacers are going to win tonight. But if they don't, then it's over for them this series. But I don't know that the only way I think it's over for them is if Giannis comes back, and it doesn't seem like Giannis is coming back. So I think the
You
Pacers.
forget that they have Mr. Jackson on their team, who is
Yes, but he hasn't played, right?
play in like the first or second game. I don't think he's in
Yeah.
second.
We know Doc Rivers doesn't like playing young role players. So, so
He like does something good and Doc's like, get out of the game. And you're like, what are you doing? You want to lose. You want to lose. He wants to lose. It drives me crazy.
all right, so game 5, Lord Jesus, woo, RC kind
How
of
we feeling? How we feeling?
kind of chill me up. I mean, this was the game 5 was 2 days ago. This is game 6 coming up. I'm excited. I think that the shots, I should say, from Tyrese Maxey, it kind of brings you to life, man. Like those Maxey shots brought me to life. Like I was the only one in my Phillies group chats. They were like, "It's over, Kyle. Let's stop having so much unnatural faith in the Sixers." Like of the big four, you have way too much faith in the Sixers. And then Tyrese Maxey said, Kylan is praying for this, and I'm gonna make it happen. And he made it happen. And I don't care if you're a hardcore Knicks fan and you say he traveled. Kawhi Leonard traveled when he hit that shot against the Sixers in 2019. I don't want to hear no babying about that. So yeah. So, but if you're the Knicks, how do you do that? Like, first off, Mitchell Robinson, even though the 2-minute report said that Maxey traveled, Mitchell Robinson, the dumbass that he was, comes in, fouls a 3-point shot, does the cardinal sin of every from like elementary school to now. You know that. Don't foul somebody who's clearly trying to get fouled, but he did it. And 4-point play. Josh Hart, ever the Philadelphia sports fan, misses 1 to 2 free throws. Maxey comes down. Joel Embiid does the pick. He shoots the shot, and it's not the first. This is like his second shot hitting in Madison Square Garden. He did the same thing in MSG when he was a freshman at Kentucky. So I don't know, man. I don't know if you want Tyrese Maxey with the clock winding down, shooting shots at MSG. I just that brought me to life, and that's all I think they needed. I think the Knicks aren't mentally strong enough, especially without Julius Randle, to overcome that. But I'm so excited. I think that brought the team back to life. Joel Embiid
I completely agree with you. I think that brought them back to life. But I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not going to say that I don't think that your Sixers have it in them, but I still think the Knicks are going to pull it out.
You're too close to New York.
I know. I'm getting poisoned.
The Hudson River fluids are affecting your brain. But yeah, I think here's the game 6 preview, right? I think that the Knicks are shell shocked. I don't think that they have it in them now. The biggest thing that Nick Nurse did from the first 2 games after the second game where they got screwed, and the league admitted it, as we all know. Even Morgan knows that, even though she was in Vegas, she knows because I was texting her about how they got screwed, and she knows that they got screwed after she watched back the game, right? You know they got screwed in game 2.
Of course.
It should be 3-2. It should be 3-2 Sixers, but it's not. But yeah. So here's the thing, right? I think that role players play better at home. So I think you'll see another big point total. And by big, I mean like 15, 17, 19 points from Tobias Harris. I think you'll see 14 from Kelly Oubre Jr. I think I think that Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey will combine because throughout this whole series, the one constant has been, even though he scored 50 points with half his face paralyzed and like still recovering, like most people get it wrong. His knee is fine. It's surgically intact. It's just again he doesn't trust it. And it's he's I think he's dropping 30. I think Joel Embiid drops about 28 to 30 points tonight. Tyrese Maxey drops about 34. And I think this will end up being, and by don't get me wrong, this is no disrespect to the Knicks. Each of these games have been close, like 3 to 5 points. I think tonight is a 7 to 10 point Sixers margin. Sixers win. I'll say, which this is a blowout in terms of this series, 114 to 107, and a 7 to 10 point difference. I just think that the Sixers have finally found something, and they found something in overtime when they went a lot bigger, having Nicholas Batum, Oubre, Harris, and Maxey, and it really gave the Knicks fits. And I think that should be the closing lineup tonight. And I think the Sixers will pull it off.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to disagree, because I know you want to.
I don't necessarily disagree. I just think that the Knicks are going to pull it out. But I'll let you have your faith. It's okay.
I think there's going to be a lot of depressed Knicks fans that you're going to see in Connecticut in Stanford tomorrow. I think that they're already. You can tell by their silence, like they've been vocal all these past series until the last two, and now you don't hear them. That was the great thing, man. The silence of Knicks fans. They get to go back to that sports hellhole and get to see disappointment. Like no one's won anything since 2009. That's not going to change. That's not going to change. Sorry to you. That's not going to change. Like
I'm not disagreeing with you.
That's not going to change. I want y'all to know that even if the Knicks do pull it out tonight, it's not going to change. Y'all, there will be no championship down Broadway, even if the Knicks go far. There will be no championship. Your best hope is St. John's.
UConn. But yes.
UConn is not in New York.
Yes, but UConn runs MSG. We went undefeated in New York games this year. So
I mean, doesn't Villanova have a better MSG record than y'all? Like overall?
I don't think so. I think they have the best overall. I could be wrong, but
Villanova have a better record. All right, but anyway, that's the thing. So let's get to the skinny of it. If the Knicks fall in this series, what's next for them? While she looks this up, what's next for them is Donovan Mitchell. They're gonna try and fail there, and then they're gonna have to figure it out after that. Like, Bojan Bogdanovic. They have a good bench. They just need a superstar. They have Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle is a star. He's not a superstar. I know a lot of Knicks fans are going to be mad at me for saying that. He's a star. He's not a superstar. I think that they need to get someone who can create shots. Right now, they only have one of those. Julius Randle's not a shot creator either. I think they need another shot creator, regardless of what happens, whether they go to the next round or they lose and it goes 7 games. I think that the Knicks have a lot to do. They need another shot creator, and they need to figure out what they're gonna do. Are they gonna build around Jalen Brunson or get Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell? Because I don't think Jalen Brunson is a 2 guard. I think he's a point guard, not a 2 guard.
I can't find the answer online, but I'm asking Dan.
But yeah, so I think that's what's next. That's what's next for the Knicks, whether they fall or not. I'm going to change the question a little bit because I said the Knicks fall in the series. What's next for them? They definitely need more defenders on this team. They don't really have any. Mitchell Robinson is on one leg. They need to figure that out. They need to get a third and a fourth scorer because I don't think Dante DiVincenzo is it. And I think that they need some more things than just going star hunting for Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker. What do you think?
Yeah, I I agree. I wasn't exactly listening. I was trying to find the answer to this, so I'm just gonna say I agree with everything you say, Kylan.
Love to hear it. All right, so if the Sixers fall in this series, what's next for them? So this is what's next for the Sixers. They have $60+ million, and they can build. This is what they're going to do. They're going to re-sign Tyrese Maxey first. They're going to re-sign Kelly Oubre, and then they're going to get Kevin Durant or LeBron James or Paul George, one of those three players, and then they're going to be a title contender because they have $60+ million. They have the 14 for 15 pick. They're going to get Dalton Connect, or what I want them to do is get your boy Castle, but I don't know if he'll be around by then. But I just want Castle just so you can root for this. Just so
no, because you know that I only root for teams that have UConn players on them.
I know. And,
no, that would be like the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I want you to be. I want you to root. I want you to root for them.
Really?
So that's what's gonna happen. The Sixers are gonna have $60 million. The Joel Embiid, like this was a bridge year anyway. So Joel Embiid is going to stay. They are going to have $60+ million. Sorry, y'all. I'm also looking for this answer. They're going to have a real good time, and they're going to pick Dalton Connect and/or what's his name, Stefan Castle.
Stefan Castle.
Stefan Castle. Okay, that's who they either need another shot creator. I think Connect or Castle fits the bill. That's my pick for them. And then the other question, and I'll let you start. Will the Pacers or Bucks be able to beat the Knicks or the Sixers? Because that's the next round matchup.
Well, I know what you're going to say because you think that the Bucks are losing tonight so that the Pacers are going to win. But I'm going to say the Bucks because they have a UConn player and they're more fun to watch, and I like Pat Beverly. So that's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
That's my answer.
I'm saying will either one of those teams beat the Knicks or the Sixers?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Pick one. The Bucks?
No, I don't think so. But it's fun to imagine.
That's what I'm saying. So I think that either way, if it's the Pacers and the Knicks or the Sixers, it's going 7 games. It'll be back-to-back 6 or 7 game series for one of those teams, either the Knicks or the Sixers. If it's the Bucks, it's going 5. I just don't think, because I think like the greatness of Damian Lillard will get the Bucks 2 games, 1 or 2 games over the Knicks or the Sixers. But I think if it's Sixers Bucks, it's Sixers and 5. And look, the one game I'll give both of these teams, whether it's the Pacers or the Bucks, will be whatever the game on Monday, because like I said, if my prediction is right, the Sixers win tonight, they'll play on Saturday. Whichever one of those teams wins on Saturday, the Sixers, they'll then travel to either the Indiana or to Milwaukee that next day and on Sunday, and then the Bucks.
Did you see that Damian Lillard's playing tonight? Damian Lillard's playing tonight?
Oh, he is. Look at that, breaking news. Well, I knew they say he was going to try, so that doesn't change my mind. I still think it's Pacers tonight, but I'm happy for the Bucks that they get one of their superstars back. So it's looking okay for your prediction, but I said Pacers in 7, so either way is great for me. But Pacers tonight. But I don't think either one of these teams will have anything for the Sixers or the Knicks. And then the last game that we get to preview, the Magic and the Cavaliers, one of those games that have been on NBA TV. I haven't been watching it, so I won't lie here. But I said Magic in 7. RC said I was crazy, but then the Magic ripped off two back-to-back wins, and now it's 3-2, and it's going back to Cleveland, I think, tonight. And I still think the Magic can pull it off. I think they have confidence now. They've been exploiting Evan Mobley, so I think the Magic win tomorrow night. I believe this game is Magic win tomorrow night, and they get 2 game 7s. Although if you're a conspiracy theorist, the NBA would love 3 game 7s. But I think it's I said Magic in 7, and I'm going to say the Magic win 2 straight, even though, and the Cavs are on the brink So I think the Magic will win these next 2 games. But I could totally see the Cavaliers winning as well. But I'm gonna stick with my pick, Magic in 7.
I like that. I haven't watched
And
a second of this series. I have no idea. Not
and
gonna lie.
again, like I said, because I know some people are gonna think I'm being blasphemous. It's kind of like what I said about Morgan's JMU Dukes. This is not like me picking the Magic because I like the Magic. This is more Magic by default. This is kind of the same logic I had with Wisconsin and JMU. The Magic are the more complete team, and the Cavaliers are just a bunch of individuals put together. So, like, they're on the brink, and they're like, whenever they lose, they're going to break this team up. So it's more of a diss to the Cavs than a support of the Magic.
Fair.
So the other question: can either of these teams beat the Celtics? Morgan. And bear in mind, there's no Kristaps Porzingis until the ECF, so they've already said that.
I still don't think so. I think they're so good. But then again, here's the thing. I feel like when you have these like lock teams that are like, oh, they're going to the finals for sure. Sometimes they do lose in these like weird mid rounds, but no, I don't think they can. Do you?
No, I don't think so. I'm not going to be disrespectful, even though everybody knows that I'm the only one in sports media that really doesn't think the Celtics are a juggernaut. Like, I can't be that disrespectful. I think if it's Celtics and Cavs, it goes 5-6 games. I think if it's the Magic, the Celtics sweep. So I said that already. So I think Celtics again don't get challenged until they get to the ECF and face the Sixers, Knicks, Pacers, or Bucks. I think that's when they get challenged. So, but as far as this goes, like the Magic and Cavaliers are basically playing for who's going to get destroyed by the Celtics. So, and then the last question, the general question, has this been the best series? What has been, let me read that. What has been the best series of the first round of the 2024 NBA playoffs so far? You already know what I'm going to say.
Let me look at them again. Just I have to like look at all of them.
All right, well, I'll start then. Y'all already know what the best series is. It's the series that, puts one of the two biggest cities on the East Coast against each other. Sixers and Knicks. Because it's been competitive. There's been a screw job, a game 2, a league screw job. There's been last-minute shots that steal souls in MSG. You've had everything that you want. Knicks, Sixers. I'm talking about these two teams, not anything that the league is doing. I think that the Sixers and Knicks need to play each other more in the postseason. Look, I'm all for Philly and New York getting together when the games matter, whether it's in the regular season or the postseason, because it just brings out all the trash talk. All the gentrified New Yorkers start talking like they live in New York, even though they're from Madison, Wisconsin, or Boise, Idaho. They want to start chirping like they know, like they've been here before. Like, you got all the native New Yorkers in Staten Island and what's left of not gentrified Brooklyn and Queens that'll be like, Philly sucks, and I'll be out there like, shut up, y'all losing the gentrified contest. So like, it's a whole thing. Like, it's great. It's great. So that's the best series. Like I said, it puts Jalen Brunson versus Tyrese Maxey is something that I want to see all 82 games of a season. Like Joel Embiid, whether he's healthy or not, destroying every Knicks fan's confidence is what I want to see. Like, give me more of this. FMB, all that stuff. Give us the smoke. We want to see it. We want to see y'all, even though it was disrespectful last weekend, putting that statue on Wilt Chamberlain, you're gonna get got for that too. It's like that's the equivalent of putting a statue on the Rocky statues. Just ask Vikings fans how that worked out for them. Like, it's gonna reverberate, man. I already said, like, whether the Sixers beat them or not, what happened, what the Knicks fans have done is gonna reverberate. The Yankees are gonna get destroyed by the Phillies because of it. The Islanders are gonna get destroyed by the Flyers because of it. Like, the Eagles are gonna destroy your Giants because there were a bunch of Eagles players tweeting about how they didn't like the fact that they had Knicks fans putting the Knicks jersey on Wilt Chamberlain. Like, it's reverberating around Philly sports. It's what we want. Philly versus Boston, Philly versus New York. bring it on, man. It's always the best series when either one of the two biggest cities get together. Like, it's a great series, and I have no even though obviously I picked Sixers in 6, and it's going to go a game longer than that. It really should be over in 6, but again, game 2, screw job. Y'all know how I feel about that. But go ahead, Morgan. What's your best one?
I think you're not wrong with the Eagle. I think anytime Eagles, Jesus, Morgan. I think you're not wrong. Anytime you get two of those big big cities together, it's really fun. Again, I the one that I've watched the most, and I think this is probably why I'm saying this, is the Bucks. I think that's been really fun. I've been having like a really good time watching. I have like recently really fallen in love with that team. Like I just think Pat Bev is so fun to watch. I love that they have kind of rallied even amongst these like big injuries, and I think that they've been really fun to watch. So I think I would say one of those two series would be mine.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Okay. I can't disagree with that. That is another series that's going 6 or 7 games. I also would say the Magic Cavs, just because, I always think it's fun when two up and coming teams get together. But now to everyone's favorite segment. He's not him, she's not her, they aren't them. You want to go first?
Sure. So there's been okay, I don't even really I don't have. I was gonna do Dion just from the way he was treating, and then
you can do it. Go ahead, you can do it.
But he was like gonna be it, but then like I don't know. There's just like I really don't have any like he's not him. So I was kind of gonna just do, and this is like really silly, but I was just gonna do like they are them for all the kids that got drafted. I just think that like we forget sometimes that like these are people, these are human beings that are getting drafted, and like this is their lifelong dream that's being realized.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that sometimes like we need to be more gentle and more patient, and just like excited for them as they're watching their dreams come true. Like, let them have their night, let them have their day. Like, yeah, you can talk crap about it, whatever, you're mad about your team picking them, blah blah blah, but like these are still like young adults whose like full on dreams are coming true, and that's still exciting for them. So that's kind of the big one that I had. Like I said, I have not gotten to watch a lot of sports, so most of my stuff is centered around the draft. I do have a they aren't them for the fans of the Detroit fans that decided as soon as they made this big stink about like breaking the attendance record at the draft, and then as soon as Detroit drafted, they just all left. So it was like empty after that. So, if you're going to make a big stink about it, at least stay the whole time. But besides that, it's been a good week. People have been nice. People have not been doing bad things. So,
all right. So my they aren't them then. I talked about it just a minute ago. Knicks fans, and the fact that, it's one thing you can take over a building, and, it is what it is. The Sixers fans let you take over Wells Fargo Center. It is what it is. You won't take it over the night. But to disrespect a legend like Wilt Chamberlain and putting a jersey on him, like I said, it's going to reverberate, because the Eagles players were talking about it. The Phillies were talking about it. Flyers were talking about it. They share the same building with the Sixers, not for much longer, but they do. So it's going to reverberate around Philly sports. Again, I always say this: act like you've been there before. I know it's been like 20 years since the Knicks have been relevant. They haven't been relevant since Patrick Ewing was playing. So I know it's been forever since like you guys have seen good basketball in New York. But there's no reason to do that. Disrespect a legend like that, Wilt Chamberlain, especially you knew, because I know it was a bunch of new gentrifying New Yorkers. It wasn't real New Yorkers, and if it was, even worse. So that is disrespectful. Obviously, like it's like Wilt's dead, and y'all disrespected that man. Like, I am of the mindset that, Wilt's one of the GOATs of basketball, one of the GOATs of Philly sports, and the disrespect, again, it's like like I said, to a lesser extent, it's like because obviously Rocky's not real. This is a real sports icon, right? This is very disrespectful. You're gonna get the reverberations of what you did tonight, and you're gonna get it every time a Philly team faces you. It doesn't matter if it's the Philadelphia Union and New York FC. You're gonna get the reverberations about it every time a Philly school or Philly adjacent school plays you. So they aren't them. And if y'all need any motivation, I don't even care if you're the Villanova Wildcats. You need motivation to beat a New York team. Doesn't even matter if it's a JUCO college. You need motivation to beat them. Just look at a bunch of Knicks fans putting the statue on Wilt Chamberlain. Like, that's all you need to know. That's it. It's like Eagles fans, you need motivation. The Vikings put a whole thing on Rocky, and that's all it took, right? Like, my day aren't them to Knicks fans that did that. Act like you've been there before. I know it's been 20 years, but act like you've been there before. It's a first round matchup, not a championship.
Yeah.
My he's not him. I've said this man before. I'll say him again. Howard Eskin to the floor, to the top of the list, bro. Like, we appreciate you too, RC. I don't know if I showed this already, but we appreciate you too, RC. And you can break in if Dan got back to you. Did he get back to you?
He said, I assume UConn, but I'm biased.
Yeah, so my he's not him, Howard Eskin. And this is a thing. This man, again, I've talked about him before. He has a very, very clear anti-Sixers bias. And every time he makes an ass of himself, because he'll come and say something that is so wrong. Like, he said, like, they're just down on the Sixers, and some people are down on the Sixers. Like, there's been some disappointments there, but it's basketball, stuff happens, right? And people still signed up to see the Phillies lose to whatever team they'll lose to in the playoffs, and they've disappointed me way more since they've won something in 08 than to lose and give up the only championship New York has won this decade to the Yankees. Like, of all the teams to lose to, you have to lose to a team with A-Rod on it, huh? So, like, I was so upset. Like, I still remember that story of being in my college dorm room and watching that with crutches, watching this man, watching this is a total aside, watching Ryan Howard lose his Achilles for Philly to win and strike out and give the Yankees their only championship this decade. So, like, Howard Eskin, because, anti-Sixers, he needs to actually be a real journalist, do some stuff. We know that he's pro Eagles, pro Phillies, but you're an actual journalist. And some of these old guard journalists, they have very clear biases, and they either need to retire or do something else, or just give somebody else the basketball reporting job instead of trying to, like, dance on the team that gives you content's grave. Like, again, I said, you might remember this. I'm trying to remember what that soccer show is that all of y'all like that's on Apple. Like, Daryl Morgan called this man Howie Krim. What's that soccer show, Morgan, that everybody likes that's on Apple? That show. It's not
Ted Lasso?
Yes, Ted Lasso. There you go. I was trying to figure it out last week and couldn't remember. Called him Howie Krim, and it was, I guess it was a Ted Lasso reference. It went over his head. It went over my head too, until some of the other sports reporters were like, yeah, it's a Ted Lasso reference. So yeah, so Howard Eskin to the floor. By he's not him. Don't have a she's not her. There hasn't really been any Kim Mulkey and them haven't done anything. I don't have a she's not her.
No, everybody's been too nice.
Yeah,
So
I haven't. I don't have a she's.
We need more scandals. Come on.
I don't have a she's not her.
I know.
Morgan doesn't want to take it, but I'll take it. Deion Sanders, be better, dog. Yeah. Like, you're a 53-year-old man. Why are you on Twitter, like, trash talking people who you cut? Like, what are you doing? But again, I like I said with the Knicks fans, act like you've been there before, Deion. I know you went 4-8, but again, stop writing checks that only 2 players on your team with talent can cash. Like, Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders are the only 2 players you have that are going to be playing on Sunday, and you keep chirping. And you're in the Big 12 now. I know it's just Iowa State. That's the only team you really got to worry about in Baylor in football. But you still chirping, dog. Like, you got to see Cincinnati. You got to see all these teams. And I would stop chirping if I was you. Like, and just go practice and see what happens. Mike wants his 5 minutes of fame. But yeah, that's why she's not her.
He's like, Mom, it's time for dinner.
I say my they aren't them. My they are them. Echoing what Morgan just said. but my they are them to a team that I don't really talk about. The Philadelphia Phillies, my they are them. To the Philadelphia, even Mike's like, what? He's talking about baseball? Like, my they are them to my Philadelphia Phillies. 21-12, one of the best records in baseball. 3 of the best pitchers in the league. Oh man, like, good job, Phillies. Like, I thought it would be an okay year. You would start slow like you usually do, but you're starting fast and in a hurry. My they are them to the Philadelphia Phillies. 3 best pitchers. Alec Baum playing like he wants to be an NL MVP. Great job, Philadelphia Phillies. Great job. And I believe that's it for me. You got any final thoughts?
I do not. Mike is like, Mom, it is 7 minutes past my dinner time. I am ready to go eat dinner. I know.
All right, then. Well, look, guys, thank you so much. Salute to RC and the other people in the chat. Salute to all you people who listen to us. Thank you so much. Morgan is back. Hopefully she'll be back next week. Yeah, so we'll
see. I've got to get my wedding dress fitted next Thursday, so we'll see.
All right, maybe Wednesday or Friday. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back next week. Have a great rest of your Thursday night. Like we said, Sixers, Pacers. She's got Bucks, Sixers. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens tonight. So
we'll see
y'all later. Enjoy the playoff basketball and the rest of the week.
Peace out, guys.
Deuces.